Welcome to the Gavel. I'm Linda Kibe. It's the final days of the 7th Assembly, and lawmakers in the Senate and the House of Representatives are giving attention to some important bills pending. The House of Representatives passed the 2015 budget and the Senate passed the amended Criminal Justice Bill. However, the Petroleum Industry Bill, which many thought would be passed by lawmakers in the 7th Assembly, was not brought up during the week. And as the end of the 7th Assembly draws closer, sadly, it is unlikely that the PIB would be passed. Anyway, the Senate waded into the issue of the xenophobic attacks in South Africa, which has been making headlines across the world. And lawmakers made some specific recommendations to the executive. Let's take a look. The pictures are as horrific as they are unnerving. People being set on fire by angry mobs, destruction of stores and businesses belonging to foreigners, all in South Africa. The attacks targeted mainly foreigners of African descent from Nigeria, Mozambique, Zimbabwe and other African countries. Some foreigners who were lucky enough to escape being killed had their shops vandalized or destroyed, losing huge amounts of money. Governments, regional bodies, organizations and individuals have condemned the xenophobic attacks in South Africa. But the Nigeria Senate is calling for stiffer measures to prevent a recurrence.
Have we talked about compensation to our people who have lost their businesses and their homes in Southern Africa? Is there anything that we have done about the king of the Zulu king, who actually instigated this?
My humble suggestion would be that South Africa should not stretch us beyond our elastic limit on this matter, because there is a limit beyond which the nation will not accept what is happening in South Africa.
A federal lawmaker, Senator Ita Enang, says the recent xenophobic attacks is a setback for the goal of integration, especially in South Africa, which has investments in different countries in Africa.
Nigeria should learn to take reciprocal, painful action against South Africa. South Africa is part of the country that has collapsed the economy and sabotaged the economy of Nigeria. Because what we are paying to MTN and MultiChoice or DSTV is so monumental, and it is affecting the economy of Nigeria. For the MultiChoice, you have to pay 16,000 naira per month, whether you watch the channel or not. And the government of Nigeria has tried to ensure that what happens in other countries of the world, that you only subscribe to select channels, that any channel you don't watch, you don't pay. But for DSTV, MultiChoice, you have to pay 16,000. After 30 days, whether you put it on or not, it goes. The same thing with MTN, which is the most expensive and highest carrier of the in our cellular communications. I want Nigeria as a government to take action against the application and use by government and certain and almost all individuals in Nigeria of MultiChoice, MTN, in all government institutions, in all private institutions, until they come to their senses.
Our country must stand up to defend the rights of all Nigerians. Our country must stand up to protect the lives and properties of Nigerians, either at home or abroad.
There has to be a resolution by this country to the AU to suspend South Africa from AU, because it is important that when governments condone things like that, it is a suspension that will send a clear signal to everybody. Today, as we are speaking, we have an estimate of over 20 million other Africans in Nigeria. But at no time have anybody dreamt of chasing them away out of the shores of this country.
Yes, we have people who pass through hardship, people trying to protest way of life in this country. But successive government, they try to address these issues. People who are ignorant of certain facts, if you fail to channel their reasons towards a life that is decent, then what is happening now is still going to be a tea party.
With the negative behavior of South Africa towards Nigeria, I think the Nigerian government must start to monitor and discriminate against South African business in Nigeria. We must control South African investment in Nigeria as a deterrent to show them that, yes, we helped you before, we cannot continue to help you. South Africa has the largest market in Africa in Nigeria. It has no better market in Africa than Nigeria. And yet, it is doing what it's doing to Nigerians.
The Senate, in its recommendations, asked the executive to recall Nigeria's High Commissioner to South Africa. The Senate also asked the executive to file a suit in the International Criminal Court against the Zulu king, Goodwill Zwelithini, whose comments set off the string of xenophobic attacks in South Africa.